Restart all the recordings. Get that in here. Okay. I believe we're ready and back. Bo, take it away.
All right. Pharrell, you exit the cave of Fingar into the open air of Rezekval. There you see tents and smoke begin to rise as fires begin to be lit for the evening. You see the tailway across the valley towards another side of rocks. So the way that the area is built in is that it's in a sunken valley with mountains sort of surrounding it. And on the mountain sides, there are paths that lead up to the sides of the mountains with doorways into various caves. Not doorways, but cavern entrances to various dwellings in the cave wall. The tailway is not in a cave. It's exterior, but up against the wall to your left from where you're facing southward to the valley. You can see it from here, but there's a lot of encampment to pass through on your way there.
All right, well, I'm holding my two... Not gourds. What are they? Drinking
horn. They're horns. They're drinking horns.
My drinking horns.
I like gourds.
And I'm heading across the valley through the folk.
All right. So you begin making your way through tents, through naturally formed paths that have been rent into the sand over, the course of possibly a century or more of passage through these pathways. And as you walk by, you see lizard folk in their tents, preparing their dinner, working at tanning leather, peeling bone and flesh from hunts gathered. And as you make your way south, you enter into an area that has what looks to be trading stalls. And you walk down this pathway, and a lizard folk who has strips of meat draped over a stone slab looks to you and says, "Hey, you with the eye. Would you care for some chicken, Lord?"
Chicken Lord. Oh, chicken.
"Show your trade, and I will give you the best chicken, Lord, in all of Rezekval. Or my name is not Dunk." Oh, not Dunk. Dork.
Dork and his chicken Lord. All right. Love it.
I'll keep walking.
"Why do you pretend that you did not hear what I say?"
I'll stop at that and turn around. Your advertisement did not seduce me.
Perhaps I was too weak in my attention getting. Did you find it very convincing that I was an aggressive hunter with wares to sell?
Truly, I do not hunger for your wares.
Very well, then. You may continue on your way. Waste my time no longer.
Oh. I'll keep walking.
Okay, and you continue walking. And as you walk, about 5 or 10 minutes now, you make your way down. You see on the pathway, headed in your direction, several acolytes dressed in tanned leathers, sort of draped over their shoulders. They are carrying a box attached to two pieces of wood. Looks like a traveling box.
A traveling box?
So they it's like they're not pallbearers, but they're carrying these two wooden logs, and upon the logs is a box.
Oh, like a
like you,
yeah, like the trap people are in it, right?
Yeah. It looks like it's like a carriage.
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, I don't know what they're called, but we were talking about the same thing. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. What Dude in 300 has, whatnot.
Yeah. They do have them in Game of Thrones too.
Palanquin, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Palanquin? I did not know that.
Yeah, that sounds right to me.
They're carrying a palanquin before you.
Cool.
The first one says, "Step aside,
Very
three-eyed one." And as you step to the side, holding your horns of bloodberry, you notice that there are dragons etched inside of this box, this paliquary. And as you peer inside, you see there's a lizard folk, and it looks to you like it almost might be Taipala.
Whoa.
All right, well, I wouldn't make a big show of it.
There's a veil covering it.
I'll just let it pass.
And as you go to let it pass and continue on down the path, you notice a second one approaching down the path.
Huh.
And the first acolyte in the lead looks to you and says, "Please, step aside."
Step aside.
You step aside, and the second palanquin procession walks past you. After that, the pathway is clear.
All right. Head up the path.
All right, you head up the path, continuing the rest of your way through huts and tents, making an observation of the many different color of scales as various lizard folk prepare their meals and continue doing their work through the late afternoon. Finally, you approach the tailway, a large stone structure, and there are about 50 stone steps leading up to a large platform to the top. Atop it, you can see lizard folk in prayer at the top on the platform.
Make my way up.
You ascend the stairs, climbing to the top. They are covered in sand, dusty, not kept clean. And as you make your way to the top, you see that there are several, again, leather-clad lizard folk in prayer, kneeling, facing what looks to be the direction of the sun. All turned in that particular direction. None of them pay you any attention. Their eyes are closed, meditating.
I'll stand up there with my 2 drinks and see if I can spy anything that looks remotely flamish.
No flames burn here. There are several columns to the back, leading to an area where the columns are in a circle. And up on the circle, there's a stone slab, dried blood covering it. You see a lizard folk there with some sort of a brush, probably made of bone, scrubbing blood from the stone.
All right, I'll walk his direction.
Mm-hmm. As you walk through the great stone pillars into what appears to be some kind of ritual area. The lizard folk, who is bronze, continues scrubbing and pays you no mind.
Tell me, Scrubber, what is it you clean?
He slows, looks up at you, and says, "I cleaned the blood of our most recent sacrifice."
And what was sacrificed and to whom?
It was a goat. A modest sacrifice. It could have been better, but it is not for me to decide what is sacrificed. I am, as you say, the scrubber.
Do they sacrifice citizens here?
Man.
It has not happened in a long time. Only one worthy of sacrifice can be sacrificed, and very few find themselves worthy of the Council of 12. Should they be sacrificed, it would be a great honor.
Is there perhaps a master of lore or priestess I could speak to?
The priestess and priests have retired for the day. We will take your appointment tomorrow. However, my understanding is Priestess Taipala can be found at the Cave of Fengar to attend a feast there.
Ah. Thank you kindly, Scrubble.
You are most welcome for my helpful information.
All right, well, I guess I'll head back to the cave.
All right, you turn around and start making your way back to the cave of Fengar. Meanwhile, or erstwhile, in the foyer room where you have been making plans without Varel, you're sitting on these leather mats. These like sort of they're fluffy and poofy, but they're covered in leather, so they're not the most comfortable things, but they're serviceable. In walks several lizard folk, and these lizard folk are two lizard folk are purple. They're purple scaled lizard folk, very strange, very standoutish. And they stand in the room and then face each other and begin conversating, and you cannot hear it. Do the three of you do anything?
What do you think these things are stuffed with?
I don't know.
No idea.
Surprisingly comfortable, I would say.
Yeah, for leather. I wouldn't have expected this.
Well, I mean, I guess when you have the tail, you gotta improvise a little bit. Still cushier than I would have thought the lizard folk would have been into.
Yeah, you'd assume you have to sit on rock to be strong, and whoever sits on the toughest material has the strongest butt or something.
Right. Now, I sat on a rock made of sandstone. I sat on a rock that was pointy.
I sat on some ribs.
And as you mock the cushions, so three black lizard folk walk in. The first one looks very tall, taller than Varel even. Very, very muscled. The second one looks older, has an eye patch that is bolted into one of the side of his head. It's like a piece of leather, but you can see the little bolts in there. And he's got a great beard beneath his jaw. And then there's another one, shorter in stature, but she actually has two swords on a belt equipped on her. And they walk in and they look around. And they look at you, and one of them leans in and you whisper something in Draconic. It's, can't make out what it is. And then they look over at the purple lizard folk. And they kind of have this sort of reaction that's somewhat disapproving, and then they walk to a corner and begin talking with themselves. Just as this happens, 8 more red and black lizard folk, but the red and black is like tiger stripes. And they walk in, and they're making quite a bit of noise. Yes, yes, yes. The Great Fengar Cave. Ugh. One day, the Cinderborn shall be rulers of Razak Val, and our cave will contain much more splendor than this cave. And look, it is even decorated with fleshlings, and they point to you. 3. And the lead one, the largest of these tiger lizard folk, come up to you and says, "Are you sure this is the correct place for fleshlings?"
He's
Are
asking
you sure
us.
this is the correct place for non-fangars?
The Cinderborn were invited to this feast.
As were the fleshlings.
This is insulting. I take offense to feasting with fleshlings.
Well, you're not much of a party either.
If this were not a time of peace, I would strike you where you stand, just for your ugly face. The Cinderborn suffer no fleshlings. We are a glorious clan here in Razak Val. Do not make the mistake of being glib with me. Omnom Cinderborn.
Omnom?
Yes, that is my name, Omnom.
Well, where I come from, that's a sound we make when we're eating heartily.
It's with your tiny mouths and tiny teeth.
Nom nom
That
nom
can-
nom nom nom.
That could not even tear apart a mosquito in two with how weak those teeth are.
Hmm.
And his companions, the other Cinderborn, laugh. Omnom is not only strong, but clever too.
Oh,
Come, let us
very.
not waste any more time with these fleshlings. and they move to another corner of the room. And it appears to your eyes now that guests are filing in, including there's a green 4 lizard folk who walk in, who talk to no one and say nothing and move to sit to the side. And then 8 silver lizard folk, gray and silvery colored, walk in. And these guys look more like they're in a good mood as their heads move around all crazy. And then some of them laugh. Ha 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 ha. They move around and they just appear to be really goofy, these silver ones. As all the different lizard folk file into the foyer room, a last one comes in. This one dressed in a white gown. It's very rare to see clothed lizard folk, but this lizard folk has white cloth on it, and there's 2 attendants behind this lizard folk. And as this lizard folk walks in, an attendant comes up and says, "Priestess Taipella, please come with me. Arrangements have been made for you to wait in a different area." And she follows the attendants up the stairs out of the room. After that, Pharrell walks in with 2 horns of bloodberry, looking still continued with what appears to be a frustrated look upon his face. The room is filled with guests, Pharrell, and you find your companions in the corner, sitting on the leather mats.
I will go through the throng and join my companions.
How did your meditations go, Pharrell?
The goat was already used.
Oh, I'm sorry?
It was not a good sacrifice, and it already
Oh.
concluded by the time I had gotten there.
And what about the individual you were looking for? I don't remember the name.
The priestess Taipala, she was not there. I was informed that she would be here now.
Oh, she was. I think I heard that name. They said they were taking her to another room.
Did our small friend not mention that I could go freely to see her?
I thought he did. I
Yes.
would think you could go. I don't really want to be left alone in a room with the rest of your kind, necessarily. They are not the most hospitable group, but you do what you have to do, Pharrell.
Seems we are getting to the bottom of the matter. How this all happened. Where things went wrong. And I would say first that it is a tribal gathering spot where all now live here. Which means all are constantly conniving for the Fang's ear. I imagine at a time this was once a great meeting spot of the various lizard folk as they gathered from the waste to decide great things before returning to their own cultures. But now we find it a place of betrayals and faction conversations. And perhaps even a little bit of misdealings, as I was informed that I could talk to my priestess freely during the very time our host would have known that she'd be gone.
And on the words the host, Miriam descends from the stairs, and he addresses the room. He's, "Welcome, my good friends, all to tonight's feast. Thank you for setting aside your busy time to come and meet with us. It will begin soon, but I would like to announce to everyone that tonight's feast is in honor of Orp the Seeing's great guests. Over here, this is Vorel Rasvim Kurik. Of no known clan here in Razakval, the Kurik clan is not one that we know, but this very day he has issued a scaling. And we, Vorel, would love to hear your tale of how you came to us. So let us rejoice and celebrate Vorel and his companions tonight. The feasting shall begin soon." And then Miriam nods to the rest of the lizard folk and then makes his way over to the 4 of you. And he says, "Sorry to keep you waiting. Dinner should begin soon. I just wanted to tell you that your seats will be directly in front of our table, in the middle. a place of honor closest to the Fengar family.
Very kind indeed.
Excellent. Now, I realize that you are new to Razak Valvorel, and if you had any questions about anything, I wanted to make myself available to you before the dinner begins.
How long have things been like this?
Like what? Do you
The
mean...
city.
Well, there have always been great clans who've decided the fate of the larger clans through their wisdom and the legacy of their families, if that is what you mean.
I think I got my answer.
In terms of Orp, well, he's only been here for about a month, and it has been difficult to adjust to Orp, but we are making do. Did anyone have any other questions?
Why are those darker lizards over there such a-holes?
He turns around and looks, and he goes, "Ah, the Cinderborn." I'm not sure. The Cinderborn are quick to temper. They enjoy tormenting weaker lizard folk. It is their way.
Well,
But if they press you, I would recommend simply disregarding it. They are just rougher. However, if they deign to dishonor you, you're of course free to strike them down. Any lizard folk can attack another lizard folk within these halls, so long it is with honor. Your reputation is quite important, after all. But the Cinderborn are quite vicious in combat. So,
What defines honorable combat here?
honorable
Weapons,
combat
hand-to-hand, magic.
Honorable combat is simply facing something that is a challenge for you. There is no honor in squishing a bug, something that is easily beaten. Of course, if something small is dangerous and you must kill it, there is no shame in doing so, such as a mosquito that might bite you. You would not gain any honor, but you would not lose any honor either. However, something that is quite beneath you in skill and ability, defeating that and bragging about it comes with great shame. For example, if Pharrell here were to challenge me to combat, no one would look upon him with great favor. They would think, oh, he could beat something half his size and a quarter of his strength, and then brag about it.
why is it that you respect a king who did that to our own diptach?
Our king is impulsive, and of course his great fang, the will of the fang is the law of the land. So if he deigned to eliminate Diptach, then that was the law.
How did these people react? I have heard rumors that they feel pretty strongly about dragons.
Yes.
How would they receive, if a dragon were to walk in here today or fly in from above, how would they receive this dragon?
They would think that the visit was with great honor, or one of great terror should the dragon be here to issue a judgment. We of course seek the favor of our lords, the gods who roam freely among the stars. We worship their will and their strength, most of all. There is only one in all of lizard kind who deign to profane against the gods and still lead us. And that was Grosjean, the god killer. It was a very long time ago. Grosjean defeated our first great fang, Rezak, the Bronze. However, Grosjean himself was defeated not by the great tyrants of the Daemonvold, or even the gods themselves, but by a human of great magical ability. A shameful end to a great lizard, but one of our most venerated of legends that we like to tell.
Who was this human?
He was a warlock of great power, and he tempted Grosjean with even more power, but betrayed him, and this warlock used his body to create magical aberrations for his own designs, to do with who knows what. But the rest of that story is lost to legends.
I'm sure it won't come up.
I know a great many tales about a great many of our great fangs. They are, as I say, venerated here. Those who ascend to ultimate leadership do so for great reasons, and they are fascinating lizards. And in Orp's case, well, maybe not so much. And then one of his lizard eyes sort of winks at you. Well, if that's everything, I think we can get started on the feast. Probably. And he looks over to one of the attendants and beckons the attendant to come over here. Says, "Has our preparations in place? Can our guests ascend?" And the lizard folk nod and says, "Yes, we are ready to receive your guests." Very well. And then Tyrion speaks up to the crowd. If you could just make your way up the stairs, and then... Sorry, Mirian makes his way up the stairs. Mirian, if you could just make your way up the stairs, and to the left, you will see the great hall where the feast will be had. And then he looks to an attendant and he says, You go to the great Feng's hall and get Orp. Tell him that it is time for the feast." And the attendant nods and runs off. So as all the lizard folk and yourselves walk up these great stairs, you notice that the walls are covered in flags and drapes and the creations of the house. And as you get to the top of the stairs, there are two lizard folk guard, red Fengar, pointing you to the left. And you make a left into the hall and make a slight turn. If you look at Roll20, you'll get a layout of the room. You make your way to the great feasting hall. And it's in the bottom left of the map. Make your way to the great feasting hall. Oh, there's no Diptak there. He died. And everyone begins taking their seats. Attendants point you where you need to be sitting. And the room is loud with conversation as the various clans, you hear them speaking to each other. And you sit down and take a seat where you're pointed towards taking a seat. And then Bramy and Jushil and their 3 children walk in and take their seats at the head. So basically, there's a head table facing one side of the room, and then all the other tables are perpendicular to it, and the various houses, about 50 or 60 people in total attendance, sit down at these tables. Now, the tables are made of stone, and the seats you sit on are also stone, and they're not well sanded, so they're all kind of rocky and uncomfortable for non-lizard folk. And everyone sits down on the seats. Now, to the side, you see that this great feasting hall, carved into the side of the mountain, is actually in open air, and there's a balcony. And then you see Orp walk up, and he sort of stands at the edge of the balcony, and you see that that's where he'll be attending the dinner. He's just standing outside, looking inside the balcony where he's standing. There are 2 drummers on the balcony, and outside of the balcony, you can also see all of Razak Val from a higher vantage point. So you see the tents and the huts and the tailway and the arena in the middle of the valley and all the cavern holes that dot the sides of the mountain walls in the valley. And the drummers start drumming. Brum bum 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 bum. Brum bum 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 bum. Boom, 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 and the drums begin playing. And you're seated, and you guys kind of quietly look around awkwardly as a lot of the lizard folk are conversating with one another, like, "Yes, I see you have grown a foot. Very good," and things of that nature, where a lot of the members of the clans are speaking to one another. Mostly positive context from what you can tell from lizard folk. Mirian walks in and takes his seat at the table and looks around, and everyone's speaking. Is there anything that you want to do?
Pharrell, where's Typola?
Varel, you see her seated at the table nearest the door. I can point her out to you right there.
Cool. I'll look behind me and give a little head direction nod for Hope.
Why don't you go talk to her?
This whole place is steeped in politics. I'm sure walking over to anyone and talking to them would mean some great affront to some other house. Friends, I am overwhelmed. I am shut down. I apologize for ever boasting that this would be a simple place of strength and strong folk. I think our hosts are the most devious political opponents we have ever faced, and I pine for the Guzzle Gang and their useless vampire half-breed of a crime lord.
I mean, maybe she's not part of this, because she was near Diptak when you first met him, and that seemed to be a bit more of your culture.
Perhaps it was a pilgrimage I met her on, a time when things could be simple. Perhaps Diptak was to guard her caravan at one time, as he was betrothed to her.
But now you're betrothed to her, aren't you?
That was the story.
Then go claim your right.
I would not sire children in this disgusting place.
No, just go talk to it. Pharrell, this may be the only chance you have.
We didn't mean go over and hump her. We meant just go talk to her.
What would I say?
Nice tale. Do you want to go out?
Not how to court her. What do I need to say to her? That can be said in this room full of ears. And
I mean,
eyes.
you're looking for some sense, some tie to this culture you believed existed, and you said yourself that you felt she was much like this before. Maybe she can give you some semblance of hope of what your people can be.
I am searching for that in the entire room, not just in her. While it would please me greatly to hear that she does not desire this confusing culture to continue, everyone here has a right to their own life, though I do wish to end them.
Just ask her. Say something along the lines of, "This isn't what you were expecting." And maybe she fills in the rest.
Just in the middle of the room here.
Maybe she feels like you do. Maybe she knows that this is a pale version of what could have been or was.
I mean, you did say these were your people and these were your people's ways. Maybe it still beats within their hearts and they simply have forgotten. I say you do what you believe your people should be. Stand up, state your intentions, and who cares who hears you?
Be strong.
My intentions lead me only one place, my friends. Through the pews, straight into Orp's eye, to defeat my enemy. But that'd be dishonorable. That would be against the rules. That would mean me who is short is not allowed to rule by whispering in the ears of a great fat man. This is all stupid. I call it stupid.
What if you arrived at the feet of Orp, astride a large dragon? Maybe maybe this would intimidate the people and your foe.
And then what, Nash? You remain a dragon here for all times? These people are looking to sew us in, lock us, so they may dote upon their fang. I would not be able to protect this world and my friends if I were to stay here and be supped nightly.
Every plan I have involves deception. I am probably not the best person to make plans for you.
I've got it. Pharrell, introduce us to her. We've technically never met. And I'm sure all of us would love to meet the priestess. Right?
Sure. Why not?
Is our host anywhere nearby?
Your post.
Host.
Yes, Miriam is sitting at the table with his family. They're looking a little more quiet. Bramy and Jershel seem to be speaking to one another. Miriam just appears to be sitting and moving a bit as lizard folk do, but waiting patiently. There's a din of conversation in the room as everyone appears to be speaking jovially to one another. The atmosphere generally tends to be amicable at the moment.
And the dark ones are here too.
So you're seated at the table with the black lizard folk,
Okay.
the black scaled lizard folk, and the one general. Sorry, we haven't been introduced yet. Although you might see some names on the map. The one sitting next to you, Hope, is the one with the eye patch and the big beard.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And as you guys conversate, he actually looks over and leans to look past Hope to Pharrell, whom you're sitting next to, and says, "You are Pharrell. I see you have 3 eyes." And he points to your chest. He said, "Do you perhaps have one to spare for a lizard who has lost one?" And then he sort of gives out a little ha 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 ha.
Ha ha ha. I will join in the forced laughter.
I am told you it isn't forced from his part, just that he laughs like a lizard folk and it's strange. I didn't mean it to sound like forced anyways. I might have seemed that way. So he seemed to genuinely, it's like an older man laughing at his own dad jokes, basically, is the impression you get. I have heard great things, great tales of Pharrell.
And what tales reached your mighty hall here?
That you burned a city. A human city.
True.
That you defeated a great evil in the land.
True.
That you bested Diptak of the Golden Sands. While he is a Billy of the Hill, he is a formidable lizard, known to have honor.
Also true.
My hope is that he ascends peacefully to the Seat of Stars, in his rightful place amongst the Council of 12. What do you make of our great Fang, Pharrell?
He's an old friend. I will be sad to see him go.
All great Fangs one day meet one that they cannot best. No great Fang has ever lived forever, to rule forever. If a scaling does not get them, age surely does. I should know. I'm almost there myself. This is my daughter, and he points to the lizard folk sitting next to her. This is my daughter, Zemesh, the Ready. She is a formidable fighter and leader of one of our military regiments. Someday, she will defeat me and take her place as elder of our family. But she has not yet worked up the nerve to beat an old lizard such as myself. So the days are long as I wait for my daughter to replace me. But one day she will. And then she looks over and says, "It is difficult to face one's father, to claim your own house for scaling, when one has become so weak from old age. Is there honor in it? I do not see it. I still have great affection for my father. What do you think, Pharrell? Should I kill my father?"
Jeez.
I've spent too much time among the humans. And my answer may not satisfy you.
And then finally, the other black lizard folk is sitting across.
Pharrell, I am Scroat, the Fist of the Sun. I am the younger brother to. Sorry, I gotta remember everyone's names. They're hard. To this man here, you see, with one eye, General Toxar, the Bearded. Toxar is a great lizard, and it hurts all of us in Mekatek clan to even consider harming him. We feel differently than many other lizard folk, that those who have earned respect through fighting great wars do not deserve to be killed by their children until it is time. However, our way is not the way of many lizard folk here in Razak Val.
In common, there is a saying, or at least a word: wisdom. Your father possesses great wisdom you could draw from in the coming battles, though you may lead the armies with your youth.
One cannot be elder of a clan or the Great Fang without besting that person, that lizard, who stands in its place. The scaling has been our way. We
As I
understand.
say-
Oh, go ahead.
As I say, I've spent too much time among the humans.
It is true. They do things strangely there. I have heard there is one village, far to the south, where they choose their leaders by writing names on pieces of paper. What kind of bizarre ritual is this?
Paper, says Nash. Paper. You're talking about paper. You ever seen paper?
Paper. Paper. I have not seen paper.
Just look at it.
Smell it.
Smell it.
Can you show me this paper, says Scroat of the Fist of the Sun.
I reach into my pocket and pull out a ratty piece of paper and say, "This is paper."
He grabs the paper and it crinkles, and he goes,
This paper is weak.
It doesn't need to be strong.
What is paper for?
Paper. Can you say paper?
Paper.
Now that's sounding weird too. Never mind. The point is, it comes from great trees. The ancients used to do this all the time. They had stacks of it. They were overflowing with the stuff. And these
These
days,
are made from trees.
yes, the pulp of trees. You would
We have seen trees in the Demonvold.
wait. Live trees, living trees.
All manner of fauna grows there.
Oh my lord!
Do you know of the Demonvold?
No.
It is a place where the lizards of Razak Val find their honor. Great tears open there, and the terrors within come forth, including these trees.
Are these? Not this
I
kind.
did not know that you could make pepper.
Not that kind of tree,
trees.
Scroat. Not that kind of tree, buddy. I'm talking about the kind that used to grow in the ground and flourish, and then we would cut them down and pulp them.
Yes,
And,
great brown flecked things with despicable-looking leaves upon their tiny hands.
yeah. Yes. I guess so. Sort of.
There are all manner of strange things in the Demonvold. I know of these trees.
And these trees attack you?
Most of Mekatak clan spends times training our armies to fight great invasions that happen in the Demonvold. I do not hunt there. The best lizard to speak with about what is in the Demonvold is Brahmi, the Tyrant Slayer. He is the eldest of the Fengok clan, but he has refused to fight his father. He has refused to ever become Great Fang because he prefers the hunt. The hunt is all that matters to him, much to the frustration of his sister Zersil. And his younger brother, the Morsel, well, he has made it known that he is using Orp to rule by proxy through the Great Man. This is known.
This is known.
Pharrell, you may find our culture difficult to understand as one who comes from Golden Lands. You are a Billy of the Hill. But while we may make... There may be things that are similar to humans here in Razakval, such as statecraft, which traditional lizard folk look down upon. Lizard folk are not deceitful. Their intentions are usually known in order to preserve their honor.
Then how do I best make my intentions known?
And what are your intentions, Pharrell?
Far beyond that of Razakval, there is a great enemy, and they're coming. They want all souls to bend to them.
Who is this enemy?
The principal.
The Mikatag lizard folk look to one another.
It is a name we have heard before, but it is nonsense to us. What manner of beast is this, the principal?
The principal is a slaver of the steel god.
Slaver.
Yes.
What is this slaver?
He does not respect the willing rights of just work. Those that he captures and conquers work without glory, without pay, without their own free will, in his mighty minds.
He looks and says, what is this free will?
The desire to follow one's tradition, to follow one's heart.
You mean he forces people into dishonor?
Yes.
And what business is it of ours that the principals, do this to their own kind? This is not lizard folk matter. Is it not beneath us?
He hungers for strong backs. And his eye now looks west of his empire. He's hungry for more.
Then an invasion is coming.
Yes.
And an invasion not of the Daemonvold. You bring an omen from where? Where do the principals come from?
Beyond the dead fingers.
The eyes sort of go up and say, the mountain ranges to the east.
The very same.
They are invaders from the east. What are they, the principals? Are they beast? Are they man?
They are
Who is our
man
enemy?
and machine.
They look at each other. The lizard folk, the way they express their distress is to like their heads move around and
Machines come to invade us.
Tools given life.
Yes, I know these machines. Abominations, to be sure.
To be sure.
And so you come here to Razakval to warn us of this and to lead us into great glory against the machines and the principals?
Originally, yes. But seeing your city, your empire, has made me question whether or not these warriors here would be willing to put down their politics and fight for what's right.
All lizard wish to serve the Council of 12 in great glory, to earn favor with them. Defeating our enemies does this. I know of no lizard folk who would not support this. What troubles you about what you see here? Look out among the encampment in the valley below. Every lizard folk here hunts their own food, trades the own wares that they procure themselves. They serve the Council of 12. They earn their place through might. Many of them hunt in the Daemonvold or in the Golden Lands. Do not confuse the matters of statecraft with the majority, who are warriors. But there are realities to managing 478 clans. They do not always get along, and they need those to keep them directed. It goes against your grain. I understand it. The Mechatacs have never sought the throne or the Great Fang. However, we have to participate in its politics in order to have agency and get what we want for our armies. But I am with you, Pharrell. There is nothing greater than feeling the flesh of your enemy pulling the thing that keeps them alive from their chest in order to end it. It is the only feeling worth feeling.
Then we understand each other.
Perhaps we can talk again soon.
And then as you in that conversation, Miriam stands up on his rock seat and takes his horn and knocks his fangs against it. Ding, 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 and it echoes out and the drumming stops. Guests, thank you for attending the Fengar Feast tonight as we honor Pharrell Rasvim Kurik, who has issued a scaling to Orp the Seeing. And he switches to common and says, Orp, you must understand that all before you expect you to accept the scaling issued by Pharrell. And Orp sort of says, he's been sitting there quiet because he's used to, apparently, like, you can tell he's used to not understanding what the lizard folk are saying to one another, as he just does not speak Draconic. And he sits there and he looks, but I don't want to fight my friend Pharrell, echoes out. And then Miriam looks at him and says, you must. You will beat him easily. There is no fear except the sadness of losing a friend. And think of what all these lizard folk would think of you, Orp, if you did not do your duty as Great Fang. You must accept this challenge or suffer shame. Orp sort of looks and he goes, okay, can I have food now? He returns to the rest of the lizard folk and he says, our great Orp has accepted Pharrell's scaling, and there will be a combat in the Razak Dua tomorrow morning when the sun rises. But tonight we celebrate Pharrell Rasvim Kurik, and what we ask that he tell us his tale, so that regardless of the fate tomorrow, we can share it through our storytelling legacy. Pharrell, please address the great clans of Razak Val and tell us who you are and why you are here. And then you hear pounding on the table as the men and women of the houses and clans of Razak Val endorse this request.
All right, I'll stand up and look about the room. I, just stretch my whole body, am Pharrell Rasvim Kurik, hero of the wastes, Hillguard of Dust Hill, the Lone Lizard, victor of the Rusty Cage, Flame of the North, drinker of beans, destroyer of Thailander, arsonist of the Sapphire, decapitator of Blunk Oliver, slayer of the Metal Man, promised mate of Taipala, and boon of Fushi.
Drinker of beans is the best.
I come to seek the clans, their strength, their numbers, their power, against a dire enemy. Beyond the dead fingers lies the principal and his chrome god that seeks to cover all in thick unnatural metals and turn us all to machines for his great deity. I hoped here to find honorable victory, clans in touch with their nature, but instead, I have found only politics, weakness whispered through a false fang. And so, to be heard, I must defeat my friend, Orb. And I will do so. And I hope in that action, we will find the errors of the ways here and strengthen for the coming storm.
Give yourself an inspiration.
Huzzah.
That was very good.
Yeah, really good.
And the lizard folk, they all sort of, and they make this noise of approval that you recognize as approval, even though it sounds weird. And they bang their horns on and their claws on the tables in approval. And you hear a loud voice from the back. Nashi, what did Pharrell say in the friendship language?
I don't know.
You're not a friendship anymore. It's okay. You're my friend still, Nashi. You hear the laugh.
Yeah, I go, yeah.
We're going to eat many mans together.
I don't eat man. I'm a man.
So Miriam stands back up and says, very eloquently put. A great speech to be sure. Now let us feast in honor of Pharrell and his great tale. And tomorrow the Council of 12 will decide in the Rajak Dua who will be Great Fang. Bring on the appetizers. And then attendants begin to filter in as Miriam sits back down. And you see lots of these, red lizard folk with, they're basically, it looks like ceramic plates. And they have a ceramic bowl on top of them. And they're each placed in front of everybody. And this whole process takes a few minutes. And then after they're all placed, Miriam says, let us begin with the feast. But first, our guest of honor, begin. And you look at the plate with the little bowl over top. And Hope, you notice yours moves a little bit.
Ew.
The bowl just goes, meep.
Oh.
Please let the guests of honor have the first bite.
Can I do an insight check on this creepy little lizard?
Miriam?
Yeah.
Okay. What are you looking to?
We've been
Read off of
told
them.
they're not duplicitous in any way, shape, or form, but this is extremely suspicious to Stanley. So
Good.
I want to see duplicity is what I'm looking for.
All right, make a roll.
It's a hold on, actually. Insight. It's a 12.
If this were human or oh, are we still good, Scott?
Yeah, my thing's being weird. You're good.
If these were human or elves or tieflings or Toyota Host or Kuroma Kishi, even orcs, you might think everything is suspicious, but your read on lizard folk is just, you can't tell. You definitely suspect foul doing, but at the same time, the lizards so far have been opaque about their intentions and what they do. You have not actually come across any deceit since entering Rezek Val.
Okay. All right. That's it then for now.
There's no attendant nearby to do the unveiling, right? It's assumed
No.
we're doing our own unveiling.
You're doing your own unveiling, and
All right,
as you hesitate, you see yours move a little bit too.
All right, I pick up the top.
I'll follow.
Initiative rolls.
Oh.
What?
Is it snake surprise?
Yes, you
Snake
reveal the top off,
eyes.
and there's a snake, and it jumps up out at you.
That's what they called it in Temple of Doom.
All right, make your initiative rolls.
I knew where Kyle was going with that.
Big surprise.
8.
9.
Big fat 8 and 9.
Nash 8, Stanley 9,
13.
13 for Hope,
13.
13 for Varel. So which among the two of you wants to go first?
Go for real.
All right,
Your
I'll go
kingdom.
first.
All right, let me roll for the snakes. Okay. 11 for the snakes, guys. All right, so Varel, you open it up and you see the snake lunge at you, but you have a time to use your turn and react.
Cool. I will grapple the snake.
Okay, make a grapple
How big is
check,
the
please.
snake?
It's large. Maybe. I mean, Scott, what's an average large snake? Is it like 10 or 20 feet?
I mean, I have a ball python that's
Enough to-
fully. It's about 6.5 feet long. Is mine?
okay.
But probably
It's like that. So this isn't a monster one, but it's
Yeah.
very large. It looks to you like an appetizer, Varel. It fits under the
Okay.
thing. It's about 6 feet long. Maybe thick. This does not look like it poses a challenge to you, but it is jumping to attack you, to bite you. So you're going to grapple it. What was your roll for the grapple?
A natural 20.
All right, you grapple it.
Then I'll take a bite.
All right, make an attack roll for the bite.
I will use my bonus action for the bite here, so I can squeeze it in. The hungry jaws.
You have 2 attacks, grappling being one of your attacks.
Oh, okay. I also have hungry jaws as a bonus action.
Sure, you can do whichever. You get 3.
All right, I got a 16.
Perfect. You bite it. Roll your damage dice. Oh,
8
hang on,
points of
got the wrong
damage.
Stats.
9 points of damage.
Yep, that kills it. And you bite it, and you eat it. Describe how you eat it, I suppose.
I'll bite it right at the neck, and as its head sort of half detaches and pulls down, I'll just start kind of doing the, like you do with a long gummy. You just start and working it in a little bit as you go. Get towards the end and start doing that T-Rex head thing as you the final bits in.
Hope, your snake is jumping out at you.
All right, I'm gonna try and use my metal arm to grab it. I guess it would be a grapple, right? To just grab it out
You
of
can
air.
use an attack action, and one of them can be a grapple.
All right. Oh, jeez, with my strength, that's gonna be an 8 for the first one, but I can attack again.
Okay, yeah. So you try to grab it, and you don't really grab hold of it, and it sort of jumps onto your arm and starts slithering up your arm.
Okay, the next attack was a 7, so that's not gonna do it.
Well, it's a contest, so I have to roll for it. So we'll see.
Oh, okay.
Now, a snake has 2 strength and a
Oh.
-4 modifier, but I can use dexterity as a defense, and its dexterity has 16. So it's not outstronging you in the grapple. It's just you try to grapple it, and it jumps from you, and it jumps from you again. And this time, now it's all tangled up in front of you, it's sort of in your arms as you try to grapple it twice. And
Okay, so in
succeed.
that case, since it's on the table in front of me, I'll
it's
take
on your
off...
arm. It's on you now.
Oh, geez.
Some of it's on the table, some of it's on you, as your missed grapples have sort of.
Perfect. So I'll take out my fake horn and go to stab the back end that's on the table.
Okay, make an attack roll, please. You're out of attacks
I have a bonus action.
that you
My
can use
action
for
surge.
an attack. Oh, you're using an action surge. All right,
Mhm.
that means if you use attacks, you get 2 more attacks.
Sick.
You might not
He's-
want to use it on a snake, a CR, a 1/4 CR snake. Just throwing it out there.
These things are these rolls are horrible, but let's see if a 13 does it.
The snake rolled a 1 this time, so you grapple on finally to the snake. And actually, it's so hard. You don't have to roll damage dice at this point. When you grapple it with your metal arm, you just squeeze it in 2, and then just blood and guts sort of pour out on top of you, and you've made a mess of this kill. But you have indeed killed it.
Awesome. And I'll look at Pharrell eating his and cautiously go to munch.
Okay.
I'll lick the blood.
All right.
Hand across the face.
Now, Nash and Stanley, you've rolled lower than the snake's initiative, so your snakes jump out and bite at you. All right. Well, my snake rolls a 1, so Stanley, the one that just jumps out at you, doesn't actually succeed in leaping off the table. Just sort of makes an action as and it snaps at you. Nash, the one facing you, is 5 plus 5, 10 to hit. I don't think that beats your AC, right?
Does not. No.
Yeah, so the snake jumps out at you, and this one is able to get bite, and you sort of as you pick it up and sort of knock it away.
Okay.
And now it is Stanley's turn.
I look down at my snake. This is dumb.
Phrasing?
I look down at my snake and I say, I've been bitten by stronger dinners than you, and I'm gonna vicious mockery my dinner.
All right, what's the DC save for it?
Wisdom 16.
Little brain.
Well, I rolled a natural 20 on that one, so the
Oh
insult.
no!
So you insulted, and the snake just is completely unaffected by this. Although he will suffer disadvantage on his next roll still, right? The save is
A
for
willful
damage.
appetizer.
No, I think he's just fine. I think he just does not. I think
Oh.
he just does not care.
Yeah. All right, Nash, your turn.
All right.
Unless you've got something else, Stanley.
Okay.
No, I mean, well, actually, I guess I do.
You gotta.
All right, yeah, parlay. We'll send the sword up and down into the snake. Just skewer it.
All
Make
right,
a
attack
snake
roll.
skewer.
Attack roll, please.
As soon as I couldn't melt the poor little snake's brain.
I really didn't want to save. Honestly, I should have rule of cool it and just let you insult it to death. But I rolled a 20.
That's a 16 plus 7. I think it hits.
All right, so you say parlay, and the sword floats out, and everyone you begin to notice that all the other lizard folk are also fighting their own snakes. Like everyone's killing their appetizers. So you think you've gotten away without anyone noticing that the sword floated up and stabbed, because it didn't have to float very far, and stabbed the snake.
All right, I just call it back to my hand, and now I have a snake on a stake, I guess.
Yeah, snake on a stake. Nash, your turn. Your appetizer has just attempted to bite you.
All right. I am going to pull from my pocket pretty readily the tiefling tailbone that I've had for many episodes,
Yeah.
and I'm going to.
Hope's pissed right now.
Aw.
I'm gonna.
Well, I saw your head shake, Kristen. That's why.
Hope's just in disbelief that Nash still has this thing.
Every time he pulls that out, I look at Kristen, and Kristen's like,
Yeah, I know.
she's always shaking her
Pulling out one of her good people's bones. Anyway, I pull that thing out and I slam it. I want to slam it into the gut of this thing and run it all the way up to its neck.
All right, attack roll.
All right, it is a 18.
All right, you do that. You slam it into the snake and run it all the way up to its neck, killing it.
Yep.
And now you have a flayed snake on the ceramic plate in front of you.
Now mine's the final one, which means this would end combat, right?
That's right. Combat is over.
Then I am going to then take that head. I'm going to pinch it off, and I'm going to suck the entire contents out of the head of that snake into my mouth through its neck hole. Just
All
going,
right.
like
And as you do
a crawfish, just.
As you do that, General Toxar looks at you, having just crushed the snake. So he took a piece of the snake and stripped it up, and he's running his teeth inside the snake. He looks at you and he goes. As you do that, he just has his happy face as he looks over at you reprovingly of your snake sucking. Yeah. All right. So combat is over. Your appetizers are defeated.
Okay. Thank the Lord.
And the whole room opens them up, and everyone, they're with great zeal, all the lizard folk kill their appetizers, and in various ways are stripping them and eating them viciously. And the drums begin back up. Boom, 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 boom. You just hear
shit.
Orp go.
The Terminators.
You hear from the back, Orp go, I don't like snakes. Bring on the mans! And then with that, Miriam looks at him as, yes, the next feast is coming up soon, but we'll get you your mans now. And an attendant walks in with a wheelbarrow full of what appear to be unconscious humans. And the wheelbarrow gets wheeled up to the edge of the balcony and put there. It's kind of like a box of these junior mints, but mans.
Junior man.
Junior
Junior
man.
man.
And it's like, oh, delicious mans. And he begins picking the mans from the wheelbarrow and as they fall in. And as that gets wheeled in, the main course gets wheeled in, and you see, well, not wheeled in, but carried in on a big stick. And you know how you can get a stuck pig, right, that you roast? Well, a fire is lit right at the other end of the tables you'll see on the map towards the back. And this unusual beast that you've never seen before is brought in. It's black feathered, although it's been defeathered. It has chicken legs and the body of a chicken, but about the size of a horse. And at the top of where you would expect a chicken head to be, you see kind of like this round hole. And then there are these two long, like, alien xenomorph type arms that are stuck out at the front, right next to where the hole is. So there's the hole, and there's these long xenomorph arms. And then in the back, you see that there are two tendrils. And at the tip of the tendrils on the butt, there are these eyeballs. But, of course, the thing appears dead, so it's unmoving. It's sort of strapped to the thing. And that gets brought out and put on the spit. And then a lizard folk begins carving as it's heated under the fire a little bit. A lizard folk goes in. Everyone, tonight we will be serving fresh chicken lord from the Daemonvold. And the knife goes in, and the lizard folk attendant cuts it in, and then he takes a bag of rocks, these little crushed up rocks, and he starts sprinkling it all over the chicken lord, like salting and seasoning it. And then eventually they cut pieces of the seasoned chicken lord into slices. Then they're put onto these ceramic plates, and the plates are passed around. And after a few moments, you're delivered this large mountain of chicken lord meat with rocks sprinkled on it.
Not live chicken lord, whatever chicken lord is.
The chicken lord is dead.
Okay.
Like a demon lord version of a chicken.
Yeah, can you describe the chicken lord? What does it just look like? Chicken?
So it has the body of a chicken, but
Yeah.
it has these two long xenomorph-like hands coming out of its head, and what looks like sort of an anus hole where the head is.
Okay.
And then at the back, there are these two long tendrils with eyeballs in it. So its eyes are in its butt, and its hands are in its head, as well as this hole.
Well, I like that you said anus hole, as if anus wasn't enough.
Sorry, but it looks like that. It's a puckering looking thing.
Sure. All right.
But now it's all carved up.
But it's cooked, right? Like it's, yeah, I'd eat this.
It's mostly raw.
Oh, mostly raw.
It's flame licked on the outside, but it's mostly raw.
But seared, maybe. All right.
Yeah, seared is a good word for it.
Okay. I'll eat it.
Lizard folk don't really cook their food.
Hope we'll clear off the rocks and start trying the cooked parts.
It's quite delicious.
Did everyone survive the first course there, the appetizers?
Yep, no one died to the first course.
Okay. I mean, I would assume it's like, since it's a feat of strength, there'd always be somebody who bites it.
I mean, even Mirian was able to kill his snake.
Okay.
Yeah. As soon as the room begins to heat, it settles back into the din of conversation. You begin eating this chicken lord. Who's eating the chicken lord?
I'll eat
I
it.
am.
I am.
Yeah, I'd eat a little bit of it.
I need everyone to make a constitution save, please.
Ah, shit. Really?
Yeah.
14.
9.
I don't need Varel to make it. Sorry.
Okay.
But you only got 20?
14.
Not natural.
Okay.
9.
Okay. As you get through to about half the plate, Stanley, you have an upset stomach.
All right, we'll stop there then.
Okay.
I've learned my lesson.
You've had enough chicken lord for one night.
All right. Now, let's see.
I gotta draw chicken lord. All right, sorry, go ahead.
I knew you'd like the chicken lord.
Yeah.
As you were eating, Baimi, the tyrant killer, stands up and says, "The elders of my clans and all of the invited guests, please excuse me. Sorry, I was using Mirian's voice, but I should be speaking like Baimi.
I must excuse myself to my chambers. I am not feeling well. And he sort of gives a nod to everyone in the room and then walks off. And then Toxar, the bearded, leans over to look at you, Vorel, and says, his father, it was him that Bami should have killed in the scaling, so that Bami could become the great Fang of Rezak Val. But Bami refuses. He refuses to be Great Fang, period. He has no interest in the title. I simply thought you should know that he is considered a favorite among many lizard folk for his ability to hunt in the Daemonvold.
Is that common among his clan?
No. Well, his father was a great hunter, but was even greater. He slew a tyrant. A great lizard on 2 legs and 2 short arms.
Oh.
That's why they call him the Tyrant Killer. And then General Toxar gets back to his chicken lord. I need everyone but Scott to remove his headphones, please.
Everyone but me?
Yes, please.
Oh boy. All right.
As you look out amongst these alien lizard folk and see them eating, you begin to feel a strange tugging in your stomach.
Okay.
You can't tell if your stomach's become upset at the food or if your digestive system is being strange or that there's some other reason that's pulling you, but you feel you must go to the washroom.
Okay.
All right.
Do I know where
put their headphones back on?
Okay.
You do what you will with that information.
Stanley Hoverell, I need to go see a man about a horse. I'll be back.
What does that mean?
Well, in the solar mines, we have this old saying. It was, I got to see a man about a horse, and sometimes it's I have a meeting with the governor. But either way, it meant I needed to use the facilities, the bathroom, the toilet.
Oh.
Huh.
Nature calls. That's another way we'd
Horses
say.
are domesticated.
Yes, they are. It was more of a diversion, Varela. It was never meant to be literal. It was like saying, let's say if you wanted to escape with a lizard girlfriend, you would say, I need to go get the old car waxed. But really what you were saying was, well, I don't have to explain. Besides, I really have to go. I'll be back. I got to use it. And I'll get up and look around for where that might be.
You have no idea where the bathroom is. But this place has a balcony and one exit, so...
Well, don't tempt me. All right, so I'm going to say to the guy, the lizard closest, or one of the closest lizards, I will say, excuse me, can you tell me where your facilities might be? An outhouse,
So
bathroom.
the one closest to you is the Elder Omnom Cinder... what was his last name? Cinderborn.
Cinderborn Omnom, yeah.
Yeah, so you turn to Elder Omnom Cinderborn and ask this question, and he goes,
The fleshling wants to know where he can...
what would be a good lizard way to put this? Where he can...
evacuate himself. Do I look like a servant to you, fleshling man?
You don't have to help me. You just have to tell me maybe where it is. Common courtesy.
It is not my job to provide direction to the clueless. Ask an attendant.
All right. More like jerk-born. And then I walk away. And then I look for whatever an attendant is. Do I know what that is here?
there's some attendants marked. You see them, they're serving food, collecting plates. They're lizard folk that are standing and doing. So you approach, you can even move your little character here. You approach one of the attendants.
Okay.
He stops and looks at you.
All right. I'll say to them, excuse me, I'm sorry to bother, but I'm looking for the facilities.
Your apology is accepted.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. So where can you point me in the right direction?
To facilities.
Yeah. Yes.
Which facilities do you require?
I need to coil a grumpy.
When you say coil, is this a form of attack? And who is Grumpy?
I need to poo. I need to take take a poo.
You must evacuate your
yes.
feces.
Yes. Yes.
Go to the poo catchers.
The poo what?
Sir, you may make your way to the poo catchers. Down this hall.
The poo catchers. Oh no.
Down this hall, there will be a junction where the stairs come up. Move along, and you will find the holes.
All right, thank you. I'll head in that direction.
All right, so if you look at the map here, I'm just going to move your dude down the hall.
Please do.
And as you make your way to where the top of the stairs were, you see there are 2 guards. They look at you and grunt as you walk. You make your way across the hall to this room where you see 3 holes in the ground.
Look at this. Okay. I will just choose this middle one here.
All right, and as you approach the middle hole and look down, you see there's a lizard folk with a ceramic bucket standing, and he was sort of sitting down, and then as he sees that someone's approaching, he gets up and he holds the bucket up.
I mutter, "Holy shit." And then I resign myself to whatever, man. These are their customs, not mine. Don't care. Turn around. Let her rip.
All right, so as you go down to let it rip, you hear a weird sound of something heavy hitting the sand below you.
Okay.
And a body like hitting the ground.
Where? From where?
I need everyone to be headphones off again.
Everyone but me?
Yeah.
Okay. It's the weirdest place I've ever found myself in.
All right. So do you still take your shit hearing the sound?
I mean, where is the sound? Can I tell where the sound
It's
is?
below, in the hole below you.
It's in the hole below me, like right below me.
Yeah. But you look down, you saw them, you're like, fine, let me take my shit.
All right, then I back up and I hear
but then you hear the sound just as it's coming out.
I'm gonna jump up. I'm gonna I'm gonna pitch that turtle head off and look down again, see what's going on.
Oh, so you're not gonna shit, or you would do shit?
No, I'm gonna hold it. I want to see what the hell that sound was.
Okay, so you hold it and then look back down. I need you to make a Constitution save to see if you're able to hold it.
Okay.
Because you're mid shit. sometimes it doesn't work. Constitution save, buddy.
A nat 20. Well, plus
All
3,
right.
so 23.
That prairie dog goes right back in his hole.
All right.
And as you pull your cloak back over yourself and look down, you see the lizard folk lying on the ground with the bucket on the ground. And then there is a hooded man in a big cloak, white with gold flecks, standing above him. And he goes, "Wait, don't shit!"
Okay. I go, "Name. Give me your name."
Now, I'm going to tell you my name, but you're not going to trust it. But I just need you to trust it, okay?
You have 4 seconds to tell me your name.
And he pulls back his hood, and you see a little bit of brown hair.
Yeah.
And you see a red eye, and you see your face, but without all the scars in it. And it looks back at you with his white and gold cloak, and he says,
I'm Nash Maggard of the Solar Mines. I'm from the future.
Ah! I say. Then I back up, and I no longer have to poo.
And as you back up, he floats up the toilet hole.
Now look, I know it's going to seem strange, but you've got to trust me.
And that's the end of this week's
Oh my god!
Bring everyone come back. Bring it in.
I can't tell them what I know, can I?
Nope, we can't tell you, and that's where we're ending this week's
Oh
show.
my
All
god!
right.
Oh man.
Yeah!
Was it? Did Zon Show end up showing up?
Oh, you guys are gonna die. All right,
Scott's gonna have to keep that secret for 7 days now.
I am.
You probably will eventually find out, like within the next episode or two. But in order for this to work,
Right.
it just needs to be Scott that knows for now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Us and
But it's
Okay.
not a betrayal secret like he's gonna come back and murder everyone because it's some big secret thing. It'll be better for the game if you guys don't know.
Okay, so summary wise, don't listen. Just let that go. Don't add it to
right.
the
Yeah, just
summary
don't
for
answer
next
that. It
week.
says you
Okay.
can just basically, Nash snuck off and disappeared.
I mean, if you do
Okay.
find out, it's not the end of the world, but you will feel more like
Rewarded.
because sometimes when we share secret information, then you have to be like, my character wouldn't know that. Sometimes it's harder than other times, and I think in this case, it would be more rewarding for you to just not know it and act on only the information you know, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
But ultimately, not the end of the world if you find out either.
No, it's not probably.
But our listeners probably loved that one.
Yeah, that was pretty good. All right. There you go,
That's it for
everybody.
this week, folks. Welcome to Lizard Folk Society. I'm sorry it's so disappointing.
It's
Hey,
been-
I'm having a heck of a time.
Yeah, I'm having a great time. Well,
Yeah,
I
we're
was.
getting to really rub this one in Pharrell's face.
Oh my god, phrasing.
After episode after episode of how his culture's different.
So much
and
better than the
Uh-huh.
humans.
We don't
the
have these
fleshies.
problems here, lizard folk.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is all true. All right. So next week you'll find out what happens next here on There Will Be Dungeons. A reminder, we need your support to make this show, so head on over to therewillbedungeons.com and use the support link and help us out. There's a really low-level one there where you can just toss a little change our way, and it's enough to help us out, but, it's not too hard on your bank book. But if you're like, man, I want the custom art, I want some of those other cool things, I want the digital rewards, I want all that stuff, I want Bo's cool box of DM stuff for the month. Well, you can get all that in other ways as well. You just got to check it out and read it and see what you like. That's at therewillbedungeons.com. It's going to do it for us. For me, for Bo, for John, for Kristen, and for Kyle. We'll see you next time. Why isn't this working? We'll see you. No, what? Wait. We'll see you next time. This show is part of the Frog Pants Network.
Frog Pants Network.
Get more shows like this at frogpants.com. I cannot believe how that ended. That's insane. I like having a secret, though. I don't ever get secrets. This is good. I like it.
Well, you have a secret this time.
I definitely do.